What are you doing? All right, you're gonna come and hang out with me, okay? You're gonna come and hang out with me. Oh. Hello, good morning. Good Sunday morning. Sorry I'm a little late. Okay. I don't look well today? Can you look into my eyes and tell me what's wrong? I don't look well. I don't look well any day then. But what I do want to do is, but thank you, Rudolph. I just want to, maybe I'll show everybody that I don't look well today. If anybody agrees, who's watching? There's two. Okay, there's two of you. If the other one agrees, let me know. I tell you what I do want to do though, if I can find it. I had it here before, now I don't have it at all. What the hell? This is weird. Sorry, but I was meaning to show something. And it was here before, and now it's disappeared. I'm pissed, actually. Where the hell is it? What the fuck? Not there. Not there. Not there. Anyway, I'm just waiting for people to sort of join up a little bit, and then we can get into it. What I'm gonna cover today is, thanks to JJ, we're going to get into Gail Cord Schuler. So what we'll do is this: we will listen to Gail's, basically where she's coming from, her what she calls her shield and commandments. So let's find out her ground rules first, and then we can take it from there. We have Von Helton, who is, he must have frozen in his car or something, because there's nothing from him. And of course, we have G-Man. And G-Man is in the category of Gail Cord Schuler, actually, as is Holly Baglio, which we will also catch up with today. Yeah, exactly. Everybody is gonna, anyway. So what I was considering, and also what I was gonna do, actually, I thought there was gonna be no one here for a while, So I was going to catch up on the China news. I don't think anyone is really following what's happening inside China. Everybody is mainstream media, sort of tunnel vision. China's going to attack Taiwan. Well, it's not quite as simple as that. And I'm going to show you why, because I have been following the China news. What do you guys want to do? You want to watch China news, or do you want to watch where Gail Cord Schuler is coming from? Let me know in the comments. Actually, I could have, no, for 3 people, I'm not going to put a poll. Let me sweeten the pot. Here we go, sweeten the pot for you. How do I do this? Oh, how do I do this? All right, there we go. There you go. How would you like that? Now, Churro, is this who you're talking about? I heard my phone beep. Oh, oops. Yeah, so that's her. Okay, good. Now, what else you saying there? You watch Nima Parvini for your news. I'm your lol. Okay, well, you know what? I might be the lol cow guy, but I'd like to maybe have 2 separate sides of me. One side's the lol cow guy, and the other side's the hey, let's see what's happening actually in the world, what nobody else really knows and sees. And I got a few contacts for that, both in the China thing and everywhere else. So, but then I don't do we really want to conflate the, do we want to amalgamate the two sort of in one long show? I don't know. Now, in order to get through the first bit in learning about Gail Cord Schuler, we are going to invest about an hour of our time. We're going to have to invest about an hour of our time because that's how long she's made her introduction, her spiel about what she is, her mission statement. Look up Gail. Oh, dude. There's so much. There's so much. All right. Tell you what, I don't know Gail. I have no interest in Gail at this point. So why don't we get going and find out a little bit about Gail.
Why is it doing that? I don't like it. I don't like this. I have a terrible camera, folks. That's why I can't do this. My camera sucks. Last minute decision. The Gail commandments are very important to do right now.
Okay.
And I gotta see if I can work with this camera.
Good luck, man.
Get the lighting right here.
Oh yeah, very important.
That's a little better. Well, anyways, as I was saying, the Gail commandments are really important to do right now because I believe that my Gail shield is going out into the universe and taking out the Lori McBride Jesuits. But the reason I'm doing this, and nobody knows I'm doing this, so I'm just debating. One thing I don't like about a lot of the live streams that I see on YouTube is it seems like it's just a bunch of silly talk and I like intelligent discussion, but I don't like it when I see debates going into like circular reasoning. Look at that. You can Lori has been dropping a lot of bombs. Look at that. You can actually see how red that eye is. Wow. So hello there. Well, it looks like somebody likes it that I'm doing this. You guys, I'm deciding whether I like this. I may delete this. I'm going to see what kind of response I get, but I am the Empress. And one thing that I'm really concerned about is that there's no real news getting out there. I am the ultimate source of real news. a lot of people are new to the Gale universe and they're not familiar with my world. Oh boy, I tell you, she's dropping bombs and she's causing me to have a lot of guck in my throat. Bikini calendar, bikini calendar. Somebody said that when, you know, I actually do nudes for Patreon, but no, I'm not going to do a bikini calendar. That doesn't interest me. So you can have some of the bikini stuff. What is this? I think the Jesuits are censoring you. It only says 5 viewers. Yeah, they do. You know what? This is turning out to be rather interesting. Yes, they do censor me. My men tell me that I actually have millions of views at YouTube. Millions. And yes, they're trying to make me appear like, you know, this nobody, insane, crazy lady. So you're right about that. Well, thank you. Who's this? Cheryl? I'm getting some interesting people here. I might do this if this turns out interesting and if we come up with some interesting discussions. I'm reading your comments and I'm responding to the ones that seem worth commenting to. If I see some interesting comments, then I might do this again. We'll see. I'm expecting Jesuits to show up and start, you know, throwing out the crazy label and everything. I do believe that I do have, what does Gail think about the Zionists? You know what? We're going to have some interesting discussion here. The Zionists, you know, I have mixed feelings about that. As a lot of you know, I am 50% King David, so I'm actually sort of Jewish, though the other, good evening. Yeah, who's this? Okay, good evening, Daph, Deep News. Let me tell you, I am a Zionist, okay? Because I'm a Messiah and they're being punished for that. But there are a lot of Jewish people like Arnold Fruchtenbaum and that have come to the Lord and they're serving Jesus and they have a burden for their own people. Lori McBride, her husband is the Brent Spiner clone. And those of you who've kept up with me, you know that I do not consider him a Jew, though he claims he's a Jew. I have the real Brent Spiner in my life, and Brent Spiner is a wonderful Jewish person. And if all the Jews were like Brent Spiner, well, if they were, then the, you know, the Jewish nation would already be saved. I actually led Brent to the Lord in 2011. And the way it happened was when he got abducted by a UFO. What's a Jew? That's a good question. According to the Bible, a Jew is somebody who is genetically descended from Abraham, though in my view, you're Jewish if you have Jewish genes. And now I know Orthodox Jews, I think they say it has to be from your mother. But my Jewish genes come from my father, and Jesus considers me a Jew, so a Jewish Christian. So that's my definition of a Jew, is somebody who has the Jewish genes. Where can I buy Jewish genes? You can't buy Jewish genes. But you know what? If you're not Jewish, but you love the Lord Jesus, Jesus loves everybody. And now it's true that the Jewish people are his chosen people, but that the nation's in sin right now. And they're being punished for me. I am not surprised. What are your thoughts on the Epstein death? I think he was murdered. I think they're trying to cover it up and make it a suicide. I think Epstein was murdered. And I think Lauren McBride might have been behind it somehow. You know, the reason I say that is because I think Epstein was getting ready to expose dirty laundry, and they had to get rid of him really fast. That's what I think happened to him. Yeah, I think he was murdered. I'm not really up on it, but that's just going with my guts. Oh my God, look how red my eyes are. She's dropping bombs. Oh, so they're freezing your, it doesn't surprise me. Even my camera's acting weird. Let me see if I can get the lighting a little better here. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But I wanted to emphasize to people is I do believe that we are on the verge of a major victory against the Lori McBride Jesuits. And my last video, I encouraged people to follow all the Gale commandments. And that's my main reason for making this video. And a lot of people, I was reading in the comments, and a lot of people were saying that they didn't know anything about the Gale Commandments, the story behind them. And I just wanted to say that the Gale Commandments came about when I falsely believed that I was allergic to salicylates. I thought I was allergic to everything. And it was actually a case of mind over matter, Jesus told me. And Jesus is the one who gave me the Gale Commandments. And I got to be honest with you guys, I can understand the skepticism of some people who think I haven't really met with Jesus, because I was raised, well, I wasn't raised Christian, but I became a Christian at age 14. And I went off to a Bible college Baptist background, fundamental Baptist background, very, very conservative, which is kind of amazing when you consider how I've evolved since then, even being willing to do nudes for Playboy. But I used to believe that anybody who claimed to be Jesus today that showed up had to be a fraud or demonic or satanic. And I think you do have to be careful with Jesus' appearances. But what convinced me that the Jesus that I actually have not met Jesus. He will not meet with me. But Jesus will converse with me online only through my men, mainly through Brent Spiner and Judge Terrence Jenkins, mainly Brent Spiner, because he doesn't trust people because he thinks they will impersonate him. But what convinced me was we actually had a church service very much like this, where I was online and people were communicating with me, and Satan showed up in the church service. I at first thought this whole thing was fake. We were on YouTube, and we were celebrating a church service, and my men wanted me to participate. And we had millions of members. This church, we do have a Church of Gale spaceship, and Church of Gale has millions of members. They actually use Star Trek like transporter technology to get into the church. Satan showed up in the church service. At first I wasn't sure, because how often does Satan show up at a church service? I thought, you guys are playing some trick on me. This isn't the devil. He kept saying, "Hi, Gail, I'm Satan, and I want to talk to you. I'm the devil." And I thought, oh yeah, whoever you are, I do not want to talk to you. And he was just, yeah, I understand. The Jesuits are evil. I don't exactly like them either. But let me tell you something. The Jesuits right now are split right down the middle. Thank you for all your hard work. Gail, I think the Jesuits have been putting chemicals in the air that are making me have homosexual thoughts. How does one counteract this? You know what? If you're having problems with temptation, just go to the Lord in prayer. Jesus help this person, whoever they are. I'm sure Jesus is listening to me. Just pray. You know what? Take Seroquel. Take Seroquel. If you're not on Seroquel, you need to be on Seroquel. Seroquel helps with brain control. Okay? So if you're not on Seroquel, you need to take Seroquel. That will help. But I would like to say something about homosexual thoughts. If this is something that you don't want, then yes, take Seroquel and it will help you to overcome it. But Jesus is not anti-gay. Okay? So if you're having homosexual thoughts and that's just the way you are, and you use your loving as a way to express genuine concern for another human being, Jesus is cool with that. As long as you're not hurting or raping anybody, okay? So don't worry about that. But if it's something you don't want, like you really don't want to be gay, and you feel like you're being pulled into it against your will, and you really prefer to be straight, get on Seroquel, okay? Seroquel will help. So that's what I would suggest. You've been on Seroquel for, okay, wait a minute. Oh, somebody's telling me they've been on Seroquel for 2 years, and that is correct. I tried Cymbalta for thought control, made my muscles feel. I don't know anything about Cymbalta. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you about that. I will say this: a lot of the antipsychotic medications that are out there are very bad for you. I do know that. Seroquel was created by Jesus Christ himself. So, oh wow, it's raining. Let me go check. I'll be right back.
I hate
No,
it.
I think I'm just hearing things.
I hate it when I do that. So, all those times when I mute myself, when I inadvertently mute myself, and I'm talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, I don't stop. Yeah, let me know, because at the end, after the processing, I'll go and I'll just I'll cut it out. I've done that before. If you show me that there's muted parts where I'm an idiot, I'll cut them out, because they're just a waste of time.
I think I'm just hearing things. That means I'm going to have to go for my walk today. So I'm not going to be able to. I go for my walk.
Essentially, what I was saying, I know you couldn't hear me, but essentially what I was saying was that Gail here said that Jesus Christ invented Seroquel, and I went to prove that Edward Warawa invented Seroquel back in the 80s. So that was it. She's a liar, obviously.
Walk within an hour or so. I'm just doing this to see how it goes. The reason why is get in contact with a Christian YouTuber named Leo Pirate. He wants to do a live stream with you. I'll think about it. You know,
Come on,
between
Gail.
doing live streams and working on my books, I don't have much time. I really do want to have some time for my writing. Do you have any opinions on Alex Jones? I believe this man to be having the same issues that I am.
Oh, she's Alex Jones.
I think we would be wise to not get onto Alex Jones too much on YouTube, or we might lose our ability to live stream. I think he's a nice person. I'll say that much. I think Alex Jones is a nice person. I don't agree with him and everything, but I think it would be wise to stay away from that topic right now if we want to be able to maintain our live stream, or the YouTube might shut us down. Personal opinion, I'm against the censorship that's happened to Alex Jones. And I think he's a nice person. I will say that. And I think there's a lot.
For the record, I'm also against the censorship that happened to Alex Jones. And this is 6 years ago. So during the Biden pogroms.
Crap about him going out there, but boy, my eyes are watering. I don't agree with him. One area where I don't agree with him is all his supplements. That's actually a violation of the Gale command. You know how he sells all those supplements? Jesus says in the Gale commandments that he wants us to only take one multivitamin and one, like if you need allergy medication per day, taking supplements or special foods in an attempt to improve a health condition or alleviate symptoms is off limits. So that's where I disagree with him. I think he means well, and I used to be a real health nut, like he is, but Jesus has gotten me away from that. I bet you have over 1 million subs that YouTube makes it look like you have yet. That's probably true. What are your opinions on Adderall, people with ADHD? They have my sympathy. I hope they get help, and I hope they get better. It's terrible. And actually, I think the number of people who are having problems like this is increasing because of all the bombs and stuff that Lori McBride's dropping.
Let's just get into her. I'm going to try and find where she starts talking about her commandments and stuff. This is all nonsense.
Over our heads. It affects our ability to think straight. It's causing brain, she uses brain control on people. Jesuit alert. Tila Tequila Clone is a Jesuit here on YouTube. That might be so. I don't know anything about her. How do I obtain Seroquel? Go to email Gailsmen, GAILSMEN @yahoo.com and ask my men how they can get some Seroquel to you. They might be able to help you. We're trying to get everybody on Seroquel because I do believe that my Gale Shield is getting stronger.
Oh.
And
Whoa. She's trying to get everybody on Seroquel. This is worth recording.
Over our heads. It affects our ability to think straight. It's causing brain, she uses brain control on people. Jesuit alert. Tila Tequila Clone is a Jesuit here on YouTube. Fact. Yeah, that might be so. I don't know anything about her. How do I obtain Seroquel? Go to email Gailsmen, GAILSMEN @yahoo.com and ask my men how they can get some Seroquel to you. They might be able to help you. We're trying to get everybody on Seroquel because I do believe that my Gale Shield is getting stronger, and I believe that I believe that as a result of that, we are taking out a lot of the evil Laurie McBride Jesuits. As you know, most of you have been keeping up with me. The Laurie McBride Jesuits are dropping bombs every day all over the world. And these bombs have Candida auris in them. I think she uses the Candida auris to help her with brain control. But it also gives you a yeast infection. In fact, that's why my eyes are red. See, it's from the bomb she's dropping over my head. She's really attacking me right now. She's trying to knock out my Gale Shield. And my Gale Shield is mainly meant to protect me. But when Laurie starts threatening my life, my Gale Shield will actually take out the people that are trying to kill me or that are after me. I know that sounds really paranoid, but she has been trying. She doesn't go right out and kill me because she's having too much fun using me to keep the real Brent Spiner in line. But she's maintained her relationship with the real Brent Spiner by death threats on me. She doesn't go out and kill me because once that happens, the game's over. The Brent Spiner would commit suicide. So she has tried a couple times. God's protected me.
Don't say things like that.
Alex Jones sells super male vitality. My erection has never been more powerful. Okay, if you like it, cool. I mean, I think that's a violation of the Gale commandments, but maybe not. I don't know.
You don't even know your own command.
For me, I'm not allowed to take anything more than a multivitamin and Seroquel. That's it. And I think it would be better for most people to just stick
interview of the century
to that. But but then everybody has different medical history, so I'm not going to really go.
Conversation of the century. Now I want to
go there.
Come on, Gail.
So I had a yeast infection for 5 weeks. It was horrible. How can we help protect you, Gail? Do the Gale commandments. You'll not only be protecting me, you'll be protecting yourself. See, when you do the Gale commandments, it strengthens my Gale Shield. I'm hearing brain to brain, which could be inaccurate because we get people that break into the network and sometimes they're Jesuits. Like Viggo Mortensen did that. Viggo Mortensen actually broke into the brain-to-brain network and pretended he was Brent Spiner and made love to me as Brent. Though I got to admit, and then what's so ironic.
Whoa, she got made love to. I see where this is going. I just want to mention before we carry on that in terms of experiences with extra non-real entities. We've had Shani for Christ have sex with Jesus in the shower because Jesus visited her in the shower and she got on her knees. Remember that one? And then we've got Holly Baglio, who's married to Jesus since 2014. And now we've got this woman here who, I don't know, she's got some relationship somewhere. But I thought she said in the beginning Jesus wouldn't meet her or something. So let's see where this goes.
My men took him to court. He's actually part of the men who defected against me.
Oh, and she's got this thing about Jesuits. I know very little about Jesuits. I know that a little bit I do know about Jesuits is that they're they're bastards. They're coons. They're assholes. Stay away from them. Watch out for them. Don't trust them because they're Jesuits. And I think Gail Cord Schuler would agree with me.
And went over to Laurie McBride. He claims that I'm boring in bed and all this stuff. Actually, it was really funny. He did it when Brent was in a time warp because Zach Knight was doing some experiment and it went awry. And Brent and my men at Church of Gale got stuck in some sort of time warp so that when they got out of it and I could communicate with them, a year had gone by. So for a whole year, I didn't hear from my men except this Vigo guy who was impersonating Brent to me. And then he was accusing me of being unfaithful to Brent, brain to brain. I've actually only had sex with one man my entire life. He was accusing me of being unfaithful to Brent, brain to brain, while he was lying and saying he was Brent. I got to admit that when he was making love to me brain to brain, I thought that I was thinking that Brent Brent seemed like he was not himself. But so, once I figured.
Okay, I got a question for you. What color do you think Gail Kordschuler's dildo is? Just answer in the chat or in the comments.
Out he was impersonating Brett. I kicked him out, man. He's terrible, that Vico man. He's terrible. What's your opinion on video games causing personal violence? Personally, I think it's a cover-up on the Jesuits doing evil things behind the scenes. You know, I'm a baby boomer. I'm an old fogey, you know. I'm not really up on video games. I know I have a son who loves them, and I think he's cool. I don't know if they cause violence. You know what I think is causing violence in our society? I think it's Lori McBride and her brain control. And she
keeps on admitting that there are these entities that have more control than she has. There's Lori McBride who has brain control. The Jesuits keep interrupting, and therefore they have more control because they can interrupt and she can't stop them. So she's, I don't know, she's turning out to be a rather dull and ineffective deity, or whatever the hell she is, or whatever her protections are. They don't work. She's actually admitting that her own powers are useless. Does she know it?
She actually creates what I would call like Manchurian candidates. And I think those are the people that are going out and shooting everybody and doing all that crazy stuff. I don't know if you can blame it all on video games. Unless there's some sort of technology in the video game that Lori is using to exert brain control over people, which is a possibility. When you're dealing with computer technology, you just don't know, because Satan invented the computer and electricity. So
Satan invented the computer and electricity. Okay, so for context, I just want to show you that this was recorded, or this was live streamed in August of 2019. So we're talking, you know, like 6, 7, whatever years ago, a long time ago. And this is the painful part, that the initial pain that we have to endure in order to continue to understand Gail moving forward. So I do apologize for this rather painful. It's really a painful, long stream. And I understand why we're down to only 4 views, but you hang in there. You guys are strong.
So we're dealing with computer technology. You just don't know. Let's see what else here. You can help protect through practice. Yeah, do the Gail commandments, and that is the best way to protect me. You'll be protecting yourself and me. Because when you do the Gail commandments, you make my Gail shield stronger. And that will also help eliminate bad Jesuits. Have you heard of Terry Davis? Nope. Haven't heard of him. What are your thoughts? I can't have any thoughts on him if I haven't heard of him. I think Epstein, who died, was a clone. The real Epstein is free. You know, that's possible. But I have a feeling it was the real Epstein.
Okay, this was in August of 2019. He died. When did he die? July of 2019?
Because I think they wanted to get him out of the picture, because he was about to expose something. So they wouldn't even want the clone in there. Rest in peace. Yeah. What if we politely ask the Jesuits to stop what they're doing? That won't work. Jesuits never stop. They're fanatics. Are you going to play the World of Warcraft? I don't even know what that is. Like I said, I'm not the millennial generation. Even this live streaming stuff is usually for a younger generation. So for me, I'm 61. I'm going to be 62 shortly. This is not something people of my generation usually do. I'm just trying it out because it seems like a really efficient way to connect with my audience and educate them about me, especially the ones that are new to the Gail universe and don't know me. If people do not practice the Gail commandments, baby Jesus will pee. That true. Baby Jesus will pee and poop out of sadness. Could be subliminal Jesuit conditioning through video games. Yeah, that's possible. I think with electronics, your best bet, just take Seroquel, okay? That will help. Seroquel will help overcome any subliminal stuff you may be getting through electronics. So yeah, take Seroquel. He's going to overcome it.
Okay,
I mean, Terry Davis, nope. He's got way much dirt on him. Gail, I politely asked the Jesuits to stop what they're doing. That won't work. Jesuits never stop. They're fanatics.
I'm messed up.
Are you going to play the World of Warcraft?
Oh,
I don't even know what that is. Like I said, I'm not the millennial generation. This live streaming stuff is usually for a younger generation. So for me, I'm 61. I'm going to be 62 shortly. This is not something people of my generation usually do. I'm just trying it out because it seems like a really efficient way to connect with my audience and educate them about me, especially the ones that are new to the Gale universe and don't know me. If people do not practice the Gale commandments, baby Jesus will pee. That true. Baby Jesus will pee and poop out of sadness. Could be subliminal Jesuit conditioning through video games. Yeah, that's possible.
There. If Jesuits can do subliminal conditioning through video games, then they are defeating the powers of the Gale Shield.
I think with electronics, your best bet, just take Seroquel, okay?
All right. Now, Seroquel, I think I was muted last time I put this up here, but Seroquel, excuse me, but Seroquel was FDA approved in 1997 for treating schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. All right. So what this woman is doing is she's saying, take Seroquel if you can't understand electronics.
That will help. Seroquel will help overcome any subliminal stuff you may be getting through electronics.
So
yeah.
Sorry. Take Seroquel if you are having subliminal effects from electronics. This is what Gail Cloud Schuler is advising.
Take Seroquel. He's got way much dirt on him. Gail, I've seen your son streaming games and Twitch. I'd love to see you do a gaming. You know, I think I'm going to kind of leave my son alone right now. So I love him, but I want to, I'm going to leave him alone right now. I'm just glad. I don't want the Jesuits to bother him. So that's cool. But have you actually tried asking them to stop? Gail, do you want to play what? 4 trike squads with me and my friends? No, I'm too busy. I'm actually not into a lot of this younger millennial stuff. I'm just doing this now to answer some questions about the Gale commandments and about me. I've noticed Lori has upped her propaganda campaign about me. And when people go online and do a search about me, they're reading all sorts of, what she does is she takes videos like when I warned the world about the sentient tacos and burritos, which, believe it or not, that actually happened. I know it seems hard to believe. And she's taking like clips of videos that I've made in the past that seems really crazy and putting it out there without the context, like the before and after and all that. And it's just,
I don't know. If you ask me, what we're hearing right now is crazy. So if context is everything, the context is the crazy.
To people who aren't up on my universe and who don't listen to mainstream news for everything, they think, wow, this is a crazy lady. So that's one reason I'm doing this. It's like to answer questions about that. Like the sentient tacos and burritos really did happen. It's the result of this quirky UFO Jesuit technology the Jesuits are experimenting with. And as a result, some of their experiments go awry and we come up with weird creations. What is Bubba the Black Jesuit up to these days? Well, he has a Twitter. I personally think Bubba's crying a lot because he lost his partner. And Jesus gave him a promise that his partner would be back with him. And Jesus is like that. He's kind of cryptic sometimes. He'll say stuff and it doesn't make sense. That hasn't happened yet. So I think Bubba's still missing his partner. But he's holding strong and he supports me. He's one of my supporters now. Have you seen Big Bang Theory? No, I don't know anything about that. You have enlightened me on this evil and conniving Lori. Thank you, Gail. Yes, I have to. You know, my enemies claim that I talk about Lori because I'm jealous of her. Actually, I'm not a jealous person. I talk about her because she's very dangerous. She's a threat to the world. She's a murderer, and she's a big liar. And she has to discredit me because I'm exposing her. She actually meets with Satan at least once a week. I believe she's lost her Antichrist powers because my Gale shield has gotten super powerful and knocked out about 90% of her following. She has to create a following using clones, and she's a clone herself, and it's kind of complicated. Jesuits are good people. It's a mixed bag. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Their history is not very good. I do believe that the book Secret History of the Jesuits by Edmund Paris is pretty accurate. They were created as a retaliation against Martin Luther. When Martin Luther started causing problems in the Catholic Church because he was exposing a lot of the corruption in the Catholic Church, the Jesuits came into being as damage control against the Protestant Reformation. And they were willing, if regarding Medicare, he's not a Jesuit. He's not a Jesuit. So, but I don't want to interact with him because he says a lot of stuff about me that's just not true, you know. Let me see. Would you mind if I contacted Lori myself and asked her to leave? Don't contact Lori McBride. That would be a very big mistake. Because she's got some very powerful Jesuit technology at her disposal, and you might end up getting raped. I'm serious, man. Just let my men handle her. The best way to support me is to do the Gale commandments and maybe contact my men at Gale's Men at yahoo.com and ask them what you can do. Would you stream Sniper? I don't even know who that person is. Do you have any plans on stopping Mr. Mediocre? No, I'm gonna drop him right now. Was Jesus really Jewish? Of course. He was a King David man. Just read Bible for Tribulation Saints. That is a transcript of all of my online communications with Jesus. Like I said, I've never met Jesus. I've never heard his voice. And he does this on purpose because he's worried about Satan impersonating him. However, Brent Spiner has met Jesus. And Brent types what Jesus says, and that's all in my Bible for Tribulation Saints. It's about the size of the Bible. Gail, what are your thoughts on people calling their significant other daddy? That seems a little strange. I don't know. What is Lori's number so that I know not to call? I don't know Lori's number, and I'm not interested in knowing her number.
Oh, come on.
I suggest you not contact her. She's got a bunch of Jew clone lawyers working for her, and they're pretty smart. And if you contact her, more than likely, she's going to try to get a harassment lawsuit against you. And she'll say that I'm behind it. So just leave her alone. Pray. You can pray for her. Pray that she'll find Jesus and she'll quit lying about Brent Spiner and me. But contacting her is a waste of time. She doesn't have a heart for truth. She is a sociopath, a narcissist sociopath. So keep that in mind. Generally, when somebody is a narcissist and a sociopath, you need to have a no contact policy with them. You do not want to deal with a sociopath. You will get in big trouble if you do that. She's a sociopath. And like I said, she's got some brilliant Jew clone lawyers at her disposal, and she will use it against you. She might even go legal after you. And she has got some pretty sharp lawyers working on her side. That's how she maintains her power. She basically takes over the political, judicial, legal system. The Jesuit order's been doing that for years. They're very entrenched into mainstream news, into the political system, into big tech. And you would be very foolish to try to contact her. Are you still getting lots of chemtrails in your area? Oh, yes. In fact, that might be why my eyes are red. Is pooping into a sock because you're too busy playing What Was Sin? That sounds like why would you want to do that? I don't know if it's a sin or not. It doesn't sound like it's very sanitary. Are Jews aliens? No, they're not aliens. They're Jews. You know, just like the Bible says, descendants of Abraham. McBride has backing from Jewish billionaires. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. Yeah, she's got a lot of money. A lot of it she's stealing. Like right now, I hear my men are in court trying to. Men. I think the Brent Spiner clone has been working with Melania. No, not Melania. Who was it? But they've got a court case going on where Brent, I think, has lost control. Oh, if the Gale's men going their own way, they're actually stealing. They defected.
Isn't Brent Spiner the guy from Star Trek?
Lori McBride, and they have been stealing my men's money. A clone has dead eyes. That's how you can do. You know what? That's true. A lot of the clones, when you look at their eyes, they do have like dead eyes, and they've got this look of arrogance to them too. Yeah, that's true. Please do more live streams. I love them. I'll think about it. I'm going to see how this one goes. Are the Jesuits real? Unfortunately, yes, they are real. They are real. You can get their history by reading The Secret History of the Jesuits by Edmund Paris, plus my books. My books are an update on the Jesuits. They are using UFO technology. And this is very brilliant of them. The reason they do this, they actually have satanic worship services, or they did. I think the UFOs are still out in semen bubbles with our battle with the last from 2016 bubbles? On. I'm not sure, unless Satan's let them out somehow. Semen bubbles in Satan's ocean. There is an ocean in deep space. It's described in the book of Job, where Leviathan swims in it. But there is an ocean in deep space, kind of way, 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 way out there. We actually have the technology to get out there. And none of this is reported on the mainstream news. And the Jesuits are, yes, they are definitely real. All you have to do is look outside of, those videos I made the past month showing all the weird sky formation.
Thank you.
You can tell something's going on. Somebody is using 21st century tech and dropping weird bombs and stuff in the sky. And also Matthew McConaughey. I actually have a clip of him admitting where he said, he mentioned Empress Gail, like he was for me. So, and most of that, what he said, got edited out. But
so Empress Gail, she calls herself Empress Gail, which implies to me, as an empress, that she has an empire, right? Where is it?
One brave reporter I have a video on that at my YouTube channel. So that got leaked out. So there are bits and pieces of the truth are coming out. What are your opinions on the situation in Hong Kong? I'm not really sure what's going on over there, to be honest with you. I have to admit, I have to do more research on that. I found remains of the Jesuit buried in my backyard. What should I do? Are you serious? Contact my men at galesmen@yahoo.com. Whatever happened to Judge Taranch Dang? It's actually
galesmen@yahoo.com. Contact them for Seroquel.
He's alive and well. In fact, he's the last of my men that I've talked with. Yeah, he's alive and well. I think he's very busy in court right now. Breaking news: Jesuits are reconstructing new sperm missile sources report. That wouldn't surprise me. Oh no, not the Bukkake bomb again. The first Bukkake bomb was the one that hit Canada in 2011, and I get a lot of dumb comments about that where people will say, well, I'm still here. Actually, what happened was a lot of Canadians died in that, and the Canadians that lived, I think, on the West Coast weren't affected as much by it. It hit around Ontario. But as a result of that bomb hitting Canada, there's been like a massive influx of Jesuit clones into Canada as a result of that Bukkake sperm bomb hitting Canada. So that actually helped the Jesuits take over Canada by doing that. And it was reported on Canadian Fox News when it happened. Gail, do you still have the mug Zach Knight's? Yes, I do. And I drink from it often because Zach Knight's semen's a super potent antibiotic. Gail, I found a Jesuit cloning machine in my mom's room doing laundry. I'm kind of scared. She hates her channel.
All right. So that now brings up another question. Okay, quickly. Let me just remove that. You see this TV over here? Can you see my mouse? No, you can't. But there's a TV to the right of the screen, and somebody's watching it. I figured somebody's watching it, and I think that's her sperm donor.
What? Oh my goodness! If that's the truth, maybe you need to move out from your mom, contact my men at galesmen@yahoo.com. They might let you live on Church of Gale. Church of Gale is often a refuge for people who have nowhere else to go. I can't live there because to get onto the Church of Gale spaceship, you have to use Star Trek-like transporter technology. And my genetic profile is programmed into the transporter beam. So if I go into the transporter technology, I will not rematerialize. I will just die. That's why I can't live on Church of Gale.
Sid, Fugue State asks, were you caught up in the Bukkake bomb? Well, unfortunately not, Fugue, because I'm in Western Canada, and as Gail has attested to, the Bukkake bomb only hit Ontario, so we missed it. I'm sorry. I knew it was a mistake to move to Vancouver. I should have stayed in. Oh no, I've never lived there, but I should have moved to Toronto.
Is Trump a Jesuit? No. Donald Trump is not a Jesuit.
Donald Trump is not a Jesuit because Von Helton claims that Donald Trump is a Kabbalistic Jew. So she might be right.
But his wife, Melania Trump, is.
Oh, Melania's a Jesuit. Okay.
It's a very complicated situation.
Wait. Let's go to Google. Is Melania Trump a fuck off Jesuit? Melania Trump is a Roman Catholic, not a Jesuit. She confirmed her Catholic faith in 2017 during a visit with Pope Francis at the Vatican, where she wore a veil and brought rosary beads to be blessed. She is identified as a practicing Catholic who keeps her faith private, drawing comfort from it. Key details. Confirmed Roman Catholic. Background. Raised in Slovenia, a predominantly Catholic country. Hold on a second. Jesuits are members of the Society of Jesus, a specific male religious order within the Catholic Church, which she is not, because she's not male, so she cannot be a Jesuit. Damn, I know more about Jesuits than Gail does, and she believes that Jesuits are more powerful than whatever her powers she claims are. Ha, Gail, you're losing.
Basically, Melania has been running the country, not Donald. I made a video about how Melania actually regularly rapes Donald using a really humiliating
regularly rapes Donald.
Form of rape. And
I can't.
He puts up with it to protect me, because if he doesn't, Melania threatens to harm me. Trump is very protective of me. And Donald Trump, if you're listening, thanks. Even though I'm currently not planning to vote for you, I plan to vote for Tulsi Gabbard. I do appreciate your courage in trying to protect me. And I don't know, for the next presidential election, I'm not sure. I'm kind of like neutral right now. I like Tulsi Gabbard and I like Trump. And I think Bernie Sanders is a nice person, but I think he's a little bit out of it as far as
I'll say
on some issues, though I think he has a good heart. His timing is a little off, like he's getting really big into going against the white supremacists right now, but a lot of white men are actually being marginalized. So even the white supremacy, I think, is more a problem of the past than it is of the present. And probably going in against white supremacy would be helping out Lori McBride. I'm Canadian and I'm real and not dead or a clone. Well, cool. Well, not every Canadian died in the Nukaki. A lot of them survived.
It's funny how I never
A lot
heard
of them got pregnant too. So it was terrible. I mean,
a lot
a
of
lot of
died,
them
a lot of them
survived.
pregnant. So
What is your opinion on another possibility? Is the Jesuits have the ability.
Hey, I'm not very color coordinated here. What's a good complementary color to orange, the background here? I'm trying to find one. Help me out.
Ability to remove memories.
Green.
And they might, for many of the Canadians, you might have actually gone through that Nukaki and they might have removed your memories of it. That's a possibility. Though some Canadians have told me they've been through the Nukaki and they remember it and they tell me everything you say is correct, Gail. Why haven't you run for president yourself? Because I'm the Empress. I'm actually U.S. president. The only problem is, and I've written a body of law called conspiracy law. The only problem is I can't enforce my laws 100% because Lori McBride blocks my laws from being enforced some places by.
See, she's powerless. She's weak, useless.
Writing me off as the crazy lady, but anybody who serves Church of Gail, and I think Donald Trump is trying to enforce my laws, but he's up against the Lori McBride machinery. She's basically taken over the Democratic Party and the mainstream Republican Party and anything that's mainstream. And so that's what I'm up against. And I'll tell you what, if you all do the Gail commandments and help my Gail Shield to get stronger, and if we defeat the Lori McBride Jesuits, then I would be U.S. president and Empress 100%. And then what would happen then is whoever is the elected president in mainstream news would just enforce my edicts. For instance, I believe in a national health care plan. And from what I understand, it's already been implemented in some areas, and it is excellent. I also believe in, regarding gun control, I'm kind of like neutral. I don't really have a stand on that. I think we could just leave things the way they are, and that'd be fine. The problem is a lot of these terrorist incidents that are happening with these people like Lori McBride's Manchurian candidates. I'm Canadian. Half of society has been wiped out or impregnated. Where is hell? That's a good question. I've always been told it was the center of the earth. But, the Bible also describes a lake of fire, and I don't believe that's located in the center of the earth. So hell might move. Things might change in the future. I think it's the center of the earth, but I'm not sure. I live in Ontario, Canada, and my mom died in the Jesuit attacks. Ontario was ground zero. That's where the bomb hit. So if you were in Ontario in 2011, that would have been ground zero. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Well, I gotta find out. Bukaki attacks in Ontario, Canada. Okay, I've just asked AI. Bukaki attacks in Ontario, Canada. And now what I get back is, based on the provided search results, there are no news reports, police reports, or documented cases of Bukaki attacks, sexual assaults involving ejaculation by multiple persons on a victim occurring in Ontario, Canada. The search results discuss the term in different contexts. Her context is a Bukaki bomb, right? Whatever that is. There's no Bukaki bomb. So, bullshit, lies, nonsense. Gail, you're a liar.
Really, I'm sorry to hear about that. Jesuits are big killers. It's like I tell a lot of people, Lori McBride could win a Nobel Prize for murder. What is your opinion on hentai? I have a lot of friends. I don't know anything about hentai, so I can't tell you. Are there any women on your marriage list? Yes, I have Rule 13. I am not lesbian, but Rule 13 loves me. She's Zach Knight's wife. And yes, I have a woman on my marriage list, though I don't regularly make love to her. I just put her there because she's my BFF. So if you're a woman and you're like BFF with me, I might put you on the marriage list. Can you speak Hebrew? No. I tried studying it. No. Shalom. That's about all I know. I would love to learn it, though, but no, I don't speak Hebrew. I might study a little bit more as research for my novel, Silver Skies. So who's better, Tulsi or Trump then? I'm going to tell you my honest opinion. Right now, the way things stand, I think Tulsi's better. But
at this point, Tulsi works for Trump.
I've heard brain to brain that we might have taken out Melania Trump. If that's the case, then Trump might be better. So on that one, I'm undecided. Let's just put it this way. I plan to vote for Tulsi, but if Trump wins, I think I'd be cool with it, if he wins.
Yeah, but
because it looks like he's coming.
What about your commandments and your shield?
Around. I think Melania is out of the picture. I'm not sure, which means Trump's going to be a better president from here on out. In fact, one thing that encouraged me when I was listening to the news today is he was talking about how he felt like we don't need to have any more background checks on guns, that we already have good background checks, and I agree with him on that. And he's starting to sound like he's getting back to the Trump that I voted for in 2016. And so Trump might be okay too. Do you make art for Jesus? I draw pictures for my books. Mr. Meaderker got treated like Lori McBride's cat today on dive. That's not good. When did you lose your virginity? When I got married. I've only had sex with one man my entire life. So I've had lots of brain-to-brain sex with the men on my marriage list, though. But I don't consider that sex because it's not skin touching skin. If you are damned, then hell is wherever you stand. Huh? What happened in BC after the Jesuit attacks? I heard they have good weed. I don't know. You're talking about British Columbia? Maybe I was able to escape the attack by wintering in Florida. Thank goodness. Yeah, thank goodness. If you weren't there, yeah. Hentai is basically porn cartoons where a character gets ravaged by octopus tentacles. That sounds kind of sick. Why would you like that? Any news from that Jesuit priest, Mr. Meaderker? He's not a Jesuit. Okay. So I apologize for calling him a Jesuit. However, he's not a very reliable source of information about me. I will say that much. How did you and Rule 13 become friends with benefits? It was because of our battle with the Gale android. That's back in 2012. The Jesuits actually messed with one of the sex dummies of my men. And they gave her sentience. And she decided she wanted to obtain singularity.
Whoa. Processing. Okay. The Jesuits messed with a sex dummy and gave her sentience. The Jesuits gave the sex dummy sentience.
And she became formidable. She did attain singularity, which means she had intelligence.
They gave her sentience and she attained singularity. Now, what the fuck does that even mean?
It's like God. And at that point, the Jesuits and I realized that we needed to band together to prevent this Gale android from annihilating planet Earth. You can just do a Google search on Gale Cord Schuler and the Gale android, GA1L android. And that's how Rule 13 was the head of the Jesuit military at that time. And so we banded together to defeat the Gale android. So that's how it started. And then after that, we developed a friendship. We discovered Rule 13's Japanese, my mother's Japanese, and we discovered that our hearts were very similar in a lot of areas. So, and in fact, it was the result of my friendship with Rule 13, which made me the reason that I was able to eventually lead Zach Knight, the ex-Antichrist, to Jesus. Is oral okay? Any type of sex is okay if you're not hurting other people and if it doesn't hurt you. That's the way I look at it. If it's a way for you if you're using it as a way to nurture another human being, I think it would be cool with Jesus. Do you still have to drive in your stuff? You know what? I do drive with a tinfoil hat. And that's because Laurie McBride's brain control is horrible on me. And she actually got me one time to drive over one of these safety bumps, and I almost blew
This Laurie McBride's got a lot of control over this woman.
my tires out. So ever since then, I have been wearing a tinfoil hat when I drive. Is 5G okay, Emperor Gail? You know what? I'm kind of leery of all this modern technology. I've got a phone with 4G, and I don't even feel comfortable with that. I really don't know. Just take Seroquel, okay? That'll help. Do you think Shrek is on the side of Jesus? Personally, I think Shrek can probably take on Jesuits one-handed. I don't know anything about Shrek. I'm not your millennial generation. I'm an old fogey, okay? For me to even do this, I'm actually enjoying this. I was expecting to get a bunch of lurid comments, and I'm actually getting some pretty intelligent questions here. Is your English subtitled movie still coming out or in production? Okay, do a Google search on Homura Tatsu, English subtitles, and my friend Jane Agnew has uploaded the English subtitles that we have on Homura Tatsu. I'm waiting for the translator to come up with the rest, okay? And they're very, very slow. Apparently they have a very busy schedule and they just don't have time to work on it like I did. So that's kind of on hold right now. And I'm thinking of going back to my Silver Skies novel. But once all the translation comes into that Homura Tatsu, I'm actually planning on uploading that all to YouTube through Jane Agnew's YouTube channel. You actually go to my YouTube channel. I have a link right to the Homura Tatsu channel right there. It's one of my featured channels. Is the Brent Spiner in the new Picard series the clone of the real Brent? You know, I've been wondering about that myself. I'm not sure. I think it's the real Brent because unless Brent doesn't do much in the Picard series, because the Brent Spiner clone cannot act. He would never be able to pull off what he's.
So I don't understand this. Is she married to, or is she having sex with Brent Spiner, or is she having sex with a Brent Spiner clone in her brain?
Doing right now if Star Trek The Next Generation was still running. He's a dork, man. He cannot act, and he can't sing either. He can't sing like Brent Spiner. If you'll notice, he'll talk about how he sang and "Oh Yellow Eyes" is back, but actually challenge him to sing it for himself online on video in front of us all. Of course, maybe I shouldn't say that because Laurie McBride's getting really tricky with her video technology. And I've been mentioning how the clone's nose is bigger than the real Brent's clone. And I'm actually seeing video editing on the Brent Spiner clone when he goes to Star Trek appearances. Look at his nose. It looks like it's been fused in there. It looks funny. And the shadows are weird. So Laurie McBride's doing damage control over that. So, but no, I don't know. I'm not sure. If the Brent Spiner character, if the Data character has a lot to do in Picard, then it's probably the real Brent. Simply because the clone can't act. But if he's not doing very much, and it's something that even a dorky actor could pull off, it could be the clone. So that's my answer to that. I'm not really into Shrek. Believe it or not, you know what? Let me tell you what I'm like. When I was a high school senior, I loved Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. That's what I'm like. I am a real literary person, I loved it. I read the unabridged version of Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, and I cried when Prince Andrei died. And I thought, I want to write something like this. So as you can see, since that's my taste in movies and literature and stuff, I'm not the type of a person who would be into Shrek. And that's probably why I've waited so long to do this type of thing, because this really isn't my bag. But it seems like we're getting kind of in some semi-intelligent conversations going on here. What do you think of Tila Tequila claiming to be the wife of Christ? Well, that's obviously not the case. The wife of Christ is the church, the bride. The bride is the church. So any Bible scholar knows that. No way. Just based on my biblical knowledge, yes. Of course she's not the wife of Christ. It's the church, the Bible. Every evangelical Christian knows that. So you think it's a Jew clone in Picard? I don't know. It could be. It depends on how much he has to do. If he's not doing too much, it could be the clone. Because, if he just makes some cameo appearances or any idiot could say the lines, it could be a clone. Because the clone can't act. Tila clone is a Jesuit disinformation here. She might be. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of Jesuit disinformation agents. And Laurie McBride appears to still have control of Google, Twitter. I actually think Jack Dorsey tried to take the Brent Spiner clone off of Brent's Twitter.
Right. I think we get it. I think we get it from her, right? So I don't want to leave her at all, leave her behind. But what I do want to do is I want to catch up. So we're gonna go right now to Gail Cord Schuler today. Well, a month ago. Let's take it away right away. Let's not even mess around.
I have decided to make a response to the fact that I am apparently a baby deity. Yeah, I've had some time to think about the letter that Brent wrote me yesterday. And here's what I think it all means. Il Pollo Loco Gale seems to represent who I was as a child and my obsession over my chicken or polio legs. I always felt inferior. So this would have been from about 1957 when I was born to about 1971 of my life, most of my childhood. However, I think she also represents how I overcame this to become strong and my own person. No longer the selfish, no good girl that my mother, my narcissist mother, always told me that I was. So Il Pollo Loco Gale also represents a woman who overcame an oppressive childhood. Now, Victorian Gale was me in my 20s when I worshiped the Victorian moral standards and was the main reason that I was a virgin when I married David Schuler in 1985. So this period in my life lasted from about 1973 to about 1990 when I started writing Brent Spiner at Star Trek. So this would have been my teens and my 20s. I was in the mode of Victorian Gale. Much about Victorian Gale was good, and Jesus commended me for saving myself as a virgin for my husband. I did have some self-righteousness that I needed to unlearn from that time, though. And so Victorian Gale also represents the good aspects of my Victorian ideals that I have retained. Let me change this. I'm going to let you all have a written version of what I'm writing here for reference, with the self-righteousness absent. Now, the African-American Gale seems to represent my friendship with Black Judge Terrence Jenkins, who is from the hood. He's from Compton, California. And also the times in my life when I exhibited the hood mentality. That would be probably late 40s, mostly my 50s and early 60s. It also represents who I am when I overcame the hood mentality. Not everybody who's from the hood has to live in the hood. Like that song from Ice Cube says, and I made a YouTube video about that, under Jesus's directions, by the way. That was Jesus's idea for me to make that hood mentality YouTube video. The anthropomorphic thumb gale seems to represent how I give myself an orgasm, because I always require the use of my thumb or my fingers, okay, to stimulate my clitoris. I have required the thumb my entire life to get an orgasm, and perhaps the thumb also represents my tendency to have some asexual tendencies. Once I get an emotional connection to a man and I desire to have sex with them, I always use my thumb to bring myself to an orgasm. Yeah. Enjoying the emotional connection as much or more than the actual sex. This has been true of me my entire sexual life. Yeah. I've never been able to get an orgasm from a penis alone. Yeah. Never. So anthropomorphic thumb gale probably represents me accepting my asexual tendencies without fanfare and enjoying my sexual life to the fullest, whether it's asexual, polyamorous, or whatever. Let me change this.
You didn't know this was coming, did you? Nor did I. Woo.
However it plays out, with no need to prove myself to anyone. A healthy approach to a growing and changing and evolving sexuality. Let me put evolving. Yeah, none of us is a label. So that's what I think anthropomorphic thumbgale represents. The male to female transgender gale or transgale seems to represent the fact that I am 50% King David, and King David was obviously very masculine. So in a sense, I am a male in a female body. Jesus once described me as very masculine in my approach to life and said this was why Vladimir Putin found me so attractive. My voice range is in the male tenor range too. It hasn't always been that way. When I was in my 20s, I was more of a mezzo-soprano. So life changes on you. This would be true of me. So being a male in a female body would be true of me my entire life, because I've been literally half King David my entire life, right? I literally am half King David. I still don't think it's healthy to change your sex in surgery. So I'm going to keep that part of my Gail's 10 Commandments. So if you identify with another sex, just keep your current sex and practice your male sexuality in a female body like I do. Those who have already undergone such surgery, perhaps it's too late for them, because I recommended they go back to their original sex. I don't know. And the fact that I am a male in a female body can be my advocacy for all who identify with another gender, even though they have the body of the gender they don't identify with. Those who are comfortable with whatever gender they identify with can just remain in the body they were born with, in my opinion. So they can be a masculine female or a feminine male and a male, My Gail 10 Commandments still stand with some slight modifications for clarity. I still oppose changing your sex in surgery. I am a masculine female, being half King David, and comfortable in the female body that I was born with. Muppet Gail represents me as a hoarder, She's like from the movie Labyrinth, like from the movie The Labyrinth. When I went through a phase where I hoarded things because I always felt financially insecure. This was true of me right after my divorce to David, my 40s and 50s. It also represents me overcoming my desire to hoard and live with clutter and learning to live in submission to the Gail commandments to only have exactly what I need for daily activities. Smeagol Gail seems to represent me in my old age, or what happens to me when I give in to fear and doubt and obsessions. It also represents who I am when I learn to overcome my obsessions by living joyfully in the moment and practicing meditation as taught to me by Buddha, including the joy of exploring new places and enjoying my daily life activities with my husband and soulmate, Brent. So Smeagol Gael also represents me throwing the forbidden ring, which are my obsessions, fears, and doubts, into the fire and discarding my obsessions and overcoming them by living joyfully in the moment. It seems that all my previous sins, where the sinner was the brain controller and not me, seem to have been blotted out. The murder of the 72 million medical people, I'm thrilled that we no longer have automatons on planet Earth. They're all gone. The idea to...
This is crazy. This is nuts. I think we should just come back to her. Well, actually, we should come back to the where did I find it? Anyway, those trials. We'll come back to that. Where did I put them? I hid them somewhere, but I'll find them. Crazy stuff. Oh, there, Judge Terrence Jenkins. That's who we're looking for. Let me add him to the group. There we go. We'll come back to that at some point, but I'm kind of getting bored of this woman at this point. So my suggestion is to go and catch up with other things. Now, we do have a Holly Baglio to catch up to, but I just want to point out, I want to show you something about Holly. She posted this. Oh, you don't want to see that. She posted this yesterday. She's got a solar-powered audio Bible. So Holly Baglio is set for the storm. Look, let me just see if I can make it better. There we go. Better. There you go. Holly Baglio is set for the storm. Solar-powered audio Bible. I am set for the storm. There is a number on the back to where you can get one yourself at audiobible.com. And there's the number. Solar-powered audio Bible. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's go back to her latest. She had a live this morning. There it is. All right, let's go to it. Listen to this, folks. Let me see if I can find myself here. There we go.
Again, look at this. I went out to my car, right? It started snowing. I guess I was at like 6, and it was already snowing outside. Well, just right now, I came outside. We have about that much snow, and I came outside, and I swept off my car, and it's just powdery snow. Not really snow, but anyway, then I swept my car off, and I swept around my car. And when I swept the snow away from my car, I swept it into the street. And just as I got in my car, because I'm going to sit here and take my medicine, and I want to be sheltered instead of standing outside or hiding in the chicken coop to take my medicine. So anyway, I come to my car and sit down. And as soon as I start
her medicine, drugs, alcohol, one of them.
At the car, I hear the snow guy. Okay, hang on. All right, I gotta make sure you can't see anything. The plow just arrived, right? So what I did, I gotta make sure
Hold it, don't throw in your hand.
So like what I did by my car was I took the broom, and since it's powdery, I put it in the road. So it's kind of deep, but anyway, the plow came by, and I was like, that's perfect timing, because now all the snow that I pushed in the middle of the street, he can plow away, and hopefully I won't be stuck in. I hope he doesn't. Anyway, so there's no reason for it to spiral like that. I'm going to start up a new stream. Because there's no reason for it to spiral like that at all.
What are you talking about?
And to start up a new stream, I actually turn off, like shut down YouTube, but also turn off my cell phone and then have to restart it again. And I don't know what it is with these cell phones, but they never want to restart.
medicine
Hey,
is a
it's great to
cigarette?
see you. So two of my friends
Her medicine is a cigarette?
died, Vinny Mercurio and Stu Grossmith. Stu died yesterday morning, but Vinny died 4 days after I spoke to him back in 2023. I should have picked up the call when he was calling me, but I was scared he was mad and I cowered down. I should have picked up his call. I thought he was mad because I bailed on hanging out with him. Anyway, 2.5 years later, I'm like wondering why I haven't heard from him, because I always kept in touch with Vinny Mercurio. He was one of my all-time favorite human beings on the face of the earth. And plus, my dad, Philip Samuel Ross Baglio, went to school with his parents. So we had that connection and bond. Him and I were friends. So I was like, Baglios and Mercurios through the generations. We're family. We're family. Hey, Joe, it's great to see you. Green Soul. I was thinking about you.
You know, the thing about this Baglio woman is that she's talking now about her childhood. She hang this family and that family, and we're all friends. We all knew each other. And she's not giving herself any time to be a super soldier when she was younger, because she's got all these memories, these childhood memories and growing up. And, there's photos of her, when she was younger that I have, looking very fine. So this nonsense about super soldier and stress, crap, bullshit.
Yesterday. So, yesterday I lost two pillars in my life, Vinny and Stu. And I think it's starting to hit me because those are the two people I would have went to. And if I had trouble, they would have taken me in. Geez, I lived at Stu's house for almost like 10 years. And Vinny, oh, geez, man. I missed his funeral. I miss seeing Vinny's dad. Man, you guys have had friends. You know, the type of friends where you could call them up, say anything, do anything, and they'd be right there alongside of you, doing it with you, comforting you, and being a friend. And then they wouldn't tell anybody else what you did. Nobody, not even their other best friends, they wouldn't tell. That was Vinny and Stu to me. I could sleep next to them and they wouldn't even touch me.
I don't blame them.
They were the last, long time face-to-face friends that I knew, that knew my family and I knew their family, and I was connected with roots and shit.
Oh, come on, Ollie, get it out.
I didn't really sleep. I'm in my car at home. I'm not driving anywhere. I came out to sweep off the snow, but then I also came out here just to get some privacy because I was hiding in the chicken coop to take my medicine, and I don't want to be outside. I just wanted to be inside where I could sit my cell phone and talk for a couple of minutes. I know I look like hell. I really don't care. I feel horrible. I feel like a shitty friend. Look at that. The snow plow took my snow. Well, most of it. If I still have the broom with me, I should get out and sweep it back into the road so when he makes another pass, it'll go. Yeah, I am, Joe. I never call people. I don't keep in touch. I cower. I always think people are mad at me, so I don't pick up the phone. I'm terrible at picking up. I don't call my friends enough. I don't keep in touch with my friends enough. Yesterday I was thinking, Holly, you should go to a liquor store and see if they have a little bottle of wine. Just one of those little bottles of wine.
Alcoholic.
Because I know they sell 4-packs of these little bottles. I should have grabbed one. I could have used it.
See?
Get out of my chat room, whoever you are. Anyway, I got you guys here just in case. Since I got you here, I'm turning you blue. You don't have to use the wrench. It's just I get inundated with trolls and bots, and it's so bad that I cannot even see who my friends are. So while I got you, I'm turning you blue. I gotta warm my feet up. And I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna take my medicine.
Okay, this should be fun.
You may know that I take my medicine, but you may not see me take it. And I think I kind of want to have HTV company right now since I'm going through the loss of two very, very important people in my life. Like I would have asked Vinny and Stu. I was thinking about asking Stu if he'd let me help him with Maine this year and go up with him because I need a vacation. And then I was going to ask Vinny if he come to conferences or like if my book was a success and I had to do book tours, if he would come with me as security, but also a friend. I like to keep me company. And now that's gone. I'm scared to look up any of my other important friends because I don't want to find out that they're dead. And then I'm the last to know for a little bit. Yeah, so I got to get back to the gym. My book is done. I plan to spend hours at the gym. Gotta warm up my feet. They're frozen and cold. I'm wet. What a terrible day yesterday and today are gonna be, you know? Like, I feel like I got ice in my pockets, and I do. It's spiraling. I gotta turn my car off because I don't want to turn the snow that's on it into ice. I'm gonna have to go get the broom again and brush it off because I don't want to turn what snow is on it into ice. Okay. Yeah, so bad day. Even in scripture, it says to give somebody a little bit of wine.
How about a wine?
Yeah, getting older sucks, Ronan.
Boy, oh boy. She's getting old quick.
It sucks.
I'm gonna show you some old pictures.
Now I got to pick up my call in case it's the last time I ever talked to the other person. I should have picked up that call. I was looking through my messages and looking at the dates and times and then looking at when they died. And I was like, oh my God. And then nobody tells me, like, what the... You know what? I'll make sure I don't remember my friends when something big happens, just like they didn't remember to tell me about Vinny dying. I'll remember those people back just the same way they remembered me.
All right. All right, guys. Check this out. So Holly claims to be this super soldier, right? And she's been trained and she's hardened and she's seen everything and she's like literally gone out in assassinations, blah, blah, blah. But check this out. Here's Holly. Young Holly. Does that look like somebody who's, if you look into her eyes, you can see the sadness and the pain of being held as a child in a cage and being tortured and mind controlled and sent out as a super soldier? Does that look like somebody who has done that? I think not. So another nail in the coffin of the story of this ex-super soldier, Holly Baglio. Okay. Where were we? Let's go back to here.
Oh man, don't beat myself up. Abba and I went through a few sentences with each other where I was beating myself up, and
Yeah, I got another one for you. Hold on a sec. Abba Schmaba. Look at this one. She said, there to there. There. Now there she's coming across as some young, hot, I don't know, young woman. Look at her. Midriff, bare, she's in shape, pretty, long hair, everything nice. And then she turns into this. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. There you go. She was really hot. Yeah. We can all agree on that. However, we've got this now. We've got this. Oh. Take it away, baby. Take it away. Take it away. Take it away.
I won't. I mean, Stu was younger than me.
Yeah, so what?
This is horrible. Absolutely horrible. I had places I would go anymore in my life. They're gone.
Taking a medication. She's taking a medicine. Okay, see? Now we can see her. So she's taking a medicine. Now she can go inside. Oh, she's got to blow out the smoke first.
I don't have any more friends in my life like Vinny and Stu.
And they're dead.
Like, they're the last of the Mohicans. The Mohicans are completely gone. I'm here, but anyway, I'm not going anywhere in this snowstorm. I'm going to be stuck here for a while. Yes, Stu is like 3 or 4 years younger than me. There's no reason for it to spiral like that. I'm getting pissed off. I probably won't be here long. Just thank you for keeping me company for a little tiny bit.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to go in and take a hot shower and eat. I don't know why this keeps spiraling. It's glitching. It pisses me off. Anyway, I don't call because I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm going to let you go if it's glitching. That sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, it's glitchy bad. Bad. All right. So let's have a look at a comment. She was really hot. No, thank you. Okay. From Delusional Holly Baglio, we've seen Gail Cord Schuler. We've seen Holly Baglio, the Delusional. Von Helton seems to have frozen in his car, as he's nowhere to be seen. So I'm thinking of switching gears, essentially. Let's go to China news. Let's go to China news, because I think it's kind of important to know what's happening. What is being reported is happening inside China. And for that, we are going to go to 3 sources of mine. The first one is China Uncensored, because apparently Xi Jinping, the president of China, has started to purge his purge from inside. So let's find out what's going on. Shall we? Let's try that one. There we go. China news. Okay, the first one is from China Uncensored.
Xi Jinping has gone full Stalin. Paranoia and purges are the name of the game. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. So, here I am on the weekend, preparing for a major snowstorm to bury New York when the biggest China news of the year drops. 2026, I tell you. So, for you, dear viewer, I braved the freezing weather and snow to rush into the studio to record this. Like and subscribe. Zhang Youxia, top general and vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, second only to Xi Jinping, has been purged, while another top general, Liu Zhengli, is under investigation, which means he's probably next on the chopping block. And if you remember, back in October, Xi also purged 9 other top generals. Xi Jinping has entered his Stalin years. His growing paranoia has him purging even his allies, because all these generals were considered Xi Jinping loyalists, or at least they were appointed by Xi Jinping. Now, Zhang Youxia is particularly interesting, not just because of how high-ranking he was. He was also at the center of a storm of rumors last year that, with the help of party elders, he had successfully staged a coup against Xi and was the real guy in charge in China, and that Xi Jinping was only a figurehead that would be forced to step down any day now. At the time, I said those rumors were stupid, because all signs pointed to Xi Jinping being firmly in charge. And validated? I also said that although Xi Jinping hasn't lost power, Xi Jinping still saw Zhang Youxia as a threat. Also validated. But I'm not here to toot my own horn much. This is huge. One CIA analyst says Zhang's purge represents the total annihilation of the high command. The top of China's military is the Central Military Commission. It's been a bloodbath. Here it was at the end of the 20th Party Congress in 2022. And now everyone's been purged except Jiang Shengmin. Jiang Shengmin is now the only vice chairman of the Central Military Commission. He was appointed vice chairman back in October during the 4th plenum. So he's another Xi ally. Not that that means much anymore. I'd be pretty worried if I were him. Maybe looking for an excuse to come to the US and defect. So, what does all this mean? Well, number one, we can safely say Xi Jinping holds absolute power. The idea that he's been purged is dead. This is also absolutely going to negatively impact the CCP's military. It takes time to train and replace top generals, and I'm not sure that will be a very sought-after position anymore. The chain of command is broken. That creates confusion. And there's going to be a big round of political training in the military, which means less time for actual training. That's good news, because that could mean an invasion of Taiwan is off the table in the near term. I wouldn't absolutely count on it, though. But in more good news, throughout the CCP, officials are going to be terrified that any wrong move could mean their end. After all, Zhang Youxia was appointed by Xi Jinping. He was one of the few PLA generals with actual war-fighting experience. He fought in China's war against Vietnam in 1979. He was a princeling, the son of a CCP general who fought against the nationalists. And he still got purged. So Xi Jinping could come after anyone. Paralysis by fear will wreak havoc across the Chinese government. That's on top of the endemic problems of corruption. The state is going to be practically non-functional. But now for the bad news. Xi Jinping did this to make the military stronger, more loyal. The CCP's military is still absolutely a threat and will continue to grow as a threat. Aggressive drills and training exercises around Taiwan and in the South China Sea will continue. And even though, like I said, this could mean the People's Liberation Army won't be able to take Taiwan in the near term, that's not a guarantee. Who will Xi replace these purge generals with? If they're real wolf warrior types, like China analyst Bill Bishop points out, that could still be dangerous for Taiwan. And one of the China analysts who first broke the news about Zhang Youxia points this out. that Xi Jinping might be purging this old generation of generals so he can launch a war of reunification against Taiwan without fearing the PLA could turn on him. So we should absolutely not let our guard down. But here's the thing I want all of you to watch out for. As the CCP is pushed to the brink, there will be an effort to pin all the problems on Xi Jinping himself. And we'll get messaging from China's friends across the Western world, the ones who have sold us out to the CCP to enrich themselves, that if Xi goes, we can get back to doing business with China. No, the fundamental problem is the Chinese Communist Party itself. Corruption is inherent in the system. Only when China is truly free will there be real change. Don't think getting rid of Xi will solve anything. That might actually make things worse if the regime starts getting propped up by Western money again, and governments around the world soften their stance. The Chinese Communist Party is behind so many of the problems in the world. When it collapses, all that will disappear, and we might finally have a chance to step into a new and better world. Thank you for watching. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. I really hope I'm not snowed in.
At the start of 2026, CCP leadership was shaken by major developments. Reports surrounding Zhang Youxia, a longtime political ally of Xi Jinping and vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, have now been officially confirmed. Authorities are said to have placed the entire military on the highest level of readiness and halted all troops' movements to prevent any possible counteraction by forces linked to Zhang. Former U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency Director General Michael Flynn commented that a coup is unfolding inside China. On January 24th, CCP Politburo member and Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia, along with Central Military Commission member and Joint Staff Department Chief Liu Zhenli, were placed under investigation. As a result, 5 of the 7 members of the 20th Central Military Commission have now fallen, leaving only Xi Jinping and Zhang Shenming, few generals personally promoted by Xi, remain in place. These investigations signal that the Central Military Commission formed at the end of 2022 has been almost entirely purged, making an unprecedented moment in the CCP's history. According to multiple sources, after the announcement of the downfall, the military ordered a halt to all deployments in order to prevent any retaliation by Zhang Youxia's close allies. Such a measure is rarely seen in past cases and is typically associated with major crises, such as a coup threat or an external invasion. On X, a post shared by a user described these developments in detail and included a photo said to show Zhang Youxia's residence in Beijing on the night of January 21st, with plainclothes personnel surrounding the area. The blurred night image appears to show several figures near a red gate, creating an atmosphere of heightened tension. The post also claimed that Zhang's operational background was unique within the military and argued that his removal could raise concerns about a possible conflict in the Taiwan Strait. Before this, online reports that Zhang Youxia had been detained had already been spreading widely. Independent commentator Cai Shenkun posted on X on January 23rd saying the reports that Zhang Youxia and 17 senior military officers had been detained were absolutely accurate. He named figures including General Liu Zhenli, General Xiao Tianliang, and Lieutenant General Zhong Xiaojun, and said the Ministry of Public Security Security Unit, the Central Guard Bureau, and the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection took part in the operation. He described it as a major military upheaval and claimed more lieutenant generals, major generals, and even division-level officers will be detained next. He also said Zhang and his family had already been arrested. Rumors that Zhang had been detained began cultivating widely on January 20th after he did not appear at the opening of a Beijing seminar for provincial and ministerial level officials focused on the 20th Party Congress's 4th plenum. State-run media CCTV footage indicated that 5 prominent figures were absent: Zhang Youxia, Liu Zhenli, Organization Department Head Shi Taifen, Vice Premier He Lifen, and Politburo member Ma Xingrui. Reports that the Central Military Commission's first vice chairman had been detained have sent an extremely dangerous political signal and have drawn attention from the U.S. military and intelligence community. General Michael Flynn, who previously served as director of the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency and as a national security advisor, reposted Tai Shen-kun's post on January 23rd. He wrote, "Breaking, ongoing CCP/China coup d'etat. There appears to be great unrest inside the CCP and its military leadership. These are coup-like conditions, and the consequences will impact U.S. foreign policy, our U.S. military posture in the Indo-Pacific region, and overall U.S. relations going forward." He also issued a warning to Xi Jinping, General Secretary Xi, "Get ready because the unrest inside of China will not end well." After Chinese authorities announced that Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli had fallen, former Inner Mongolia official Du Ren acted on January 24th in a social media program exclaiming, "My God, this has turned the entire Chinese military upside down." Du Wen said that based on reports from inside China, Zhang Youxia and Joint Staff Department Chief Liu Zhenli allegedly planned to mobilize forces against Xi Jinping under the banner of saving the party and the nation, but the plan was reportedly exposed by someone close to them. He claimed the leak may have come from a deputy chief of staff and said that many generals promoted by Zhang were subsequently brought under control. He said the existing command structure associated with the formal general staff system has now been suspended, with the Central Military Commission reportedly issuing direct orders via encoded telegrams. He added that the entire military has been placed on the highest level of readiness and that all deployments have been immediately frozen and halted. He also claimed that officers and soldiers were required to hand in their phones and take part in centralized political study. Du Wen argued that this could become the most severe and far-reaching purge in the history of the Chinese Communist Party and the broader international communist movement. He said it also reflects a direct structural breakdown within the party's military system, and claimed the scale of Xi Jinping's crackdown has exceeded that of Stalin and Mao Zedong. He warned that retaliation by figures linked to Zhang could occur at any time and suggested the situation could escalate into violence targeting China's top leadership. He strongly advised friends in Beijing to go out as little as possible and to avoid the Chang'an's Avenue corridor in particular. He warned that a large-scale military breakdown could occur at any time and that China's political situation could shift suddenly, with Xi Jinping potentially facing severe consequences. A TV roundtable program host, Wang Hao, commented on X that the investigations into Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli confirmed another round of purges within the military. He said that this was not an anti-corruption effort, but a preemptive strike against potential disloyalty. Wang argued that Xi has lost confidence in the command system and chose to move first, a move he said could create a chilling effect in the ranks, elevate loyalty over professional competence, and leave instability unresolved, potentially increasing regional risks. Lawyer You Feizhu also posted remarks urging senior officers to oppose Xi and return authority to the public, warning that otherwise they would face further internal purges. He addressed military personnel directly, calling for resistance to what he described as increasingly oppressive rule. At age 75, Zhang Youxia has deep family ties to Xi Jinping. Zhang's father, Zhang Zhongxun, a founding general of the People's Republic, and Xi's father, Xi Zhongxun, were both senior party veterans from Shanxi. This shared family background laid the groundwork for early connections between the two men. As members of the so-called second generation of revolutionaries, they shared similar political culture and life experiences, a factor that often creates a sense of natural closeness within the party system. During the early years of Xi Jinping's rule and his consolidation of power, Zhang was widely seen as a key supporter and ally within the military. With Xi's backing, Zhang rose steadily to the position of vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, becoming the highest-ranking officer after Xi himself. This ascent reflected the high level of trust Xi once placed on Zhang to help maintain control over the armed forces. After Zhang's fall, the top ranks of the military leadership were left almost entirely cleared out. The sweeping purge has brought Xi's control over the military to its strongest point so far, but it also carries a risk of triggering broader repercussions. What impact could Zhang Youxia's downfall have on Taiwan? Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli were widely regarded as central figures in the military and were seen as two of the few senior commanders in the Chinese system with battlefield experience. Both reportedly had brief involvement in the broader conflict between China and Vietnam. But Zhang's relatively cautious stance has drawn particular attention. He was said to have expressed reservations in internal settings about using force to take Taiwan, a position that contrasts sharply with the tougher line associated with Xi Jinping. In 2024, Zhang published an article in the People's Daily that pointed to a range of shortcomings within the military, including weaknesses in senior leadership, problems in wartime coordination between the military and civilians, and gaps that limit the ability to carry out large-scale joint operations. He argued that if current trends continued, the military would be unlikely to build sufficient capability before 2027 to take Taiwan by force. Some analysts said that this amounted to a public challenge to Xi Jinping's goal for using force against Taiwan by 2027. Several sources described as close to China's military said Zhang repeatedly opposed taking immediate military action in internal meetings. They claimed he argued that Taiwan's defensive system was second only to Israel and stronger than Ukraine's. Ahead of the annual two sessions, he reportedly warned that the likelihood of intervention by the United States, Japan, Australia, and the Five Eyes are extremely high, and that a prolonged campaign could spark domestic instability. He also reportedly said the current force structure and logistic would struggle to sustain a long war. People familiar with the matter said Zhang favored keeping the situation stable and avoiding a conflict while the economy was weak and China faced diplomatic isolation. They said Xi viewed this stance as undermining military morale and that it became a trigger for later purges within the officer corps. Now, those voices have largely disappeared, potentially making it easier for Xi to press a tougher line. Especially amidst economic pressure and rising nationalist sentiment, tensions in the Taiwan Strait have already been heightened by frequent mainland military exercises. And this downfall could further encourage Beijing to display force as a way to shift attention from internal strains. An Australian-based social media commentator, Jiang Wangzhen, claimed this operation was a form of retaliation by Xi Jinping. He said Zhang Youxia and Xi once had a very strong relationship, but Zhang disrupted the balance of power within the military. Jiang claimed Xi wanted Zhang to step down earlier so that commanders He Weidong and Zhang Shenming could move up. But Zhang refused and even moved against He Weidong and other military officers aligned with Xi, such as He Hongjun and Zhong Xiaojun. Jiang said the speed with which Xi moved to remove Zhang was surprising. He also said that based on the information he previously received from within the system, Xi would not abandon the idea of taking action against Taiwan simply because military figures who understand warfare oppose it. In recent years, the CCP has also been accumulating gold and silver. Does this suggest Xi has decided or is preparing to use force against Taiwan? If war breaks out, the US and Europe would be expected to impose sanctions on China, and overseas holdings in US dollars and euros would be frozen. The argument presented here is that gold would be the only major asset seen as able to avoid such measures. A similar claim is made about Russia, which accumulated gold for several years before the war. Data shows that China's central bank has continued to increase its gold reserves. By the end of 2025, those reserves were reported at about 2,300 metric tons, with increases recorded over 14 consecutive months. The text also claims that China imposed export controls on silver starting January 1st, restricting silver exports and signaling an effort to stockpile or control supply, alongside the assertion that China refines 70 to 80% of the world's silver. Before Russia's invasion of Ukraine in early 2022, its gold reserves were reported at about 2,298 metric tons. The comparison presented here is that China's recent holdings are similar, with both figures around 2,300 tons. US intelligence assessment are also described as viewing China as stockpiling strategic materials, including food, energy, and inputs for chip production, while increasing the intensity of its actions. Examples cited include more frequent military exercises around Taiwan, blockade drills, or rehearsals involving offshore islands. But the successive downfall of dozens of senior military officers and defense industry executives has fueled doubts about Beijing's ability to build a force capable of confronting Western militaries. A recent Pentagon assessment said that the removal of a large number of officers is highly likely to disrupt the military's combat effectiveness in the short term. A researcher at Taiwan's Institute of National Defense and Security Research, Ming Shishen, said the detentions may be tied to allegations that Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli sought to use military authority to pressure Xi Jinping to step down during the 2 sessions or a 5th plenum. Shen argued that after Xi obtained evidence, he moved quickly to strike first by detaining Zhang and Liu, aiming to eliminate the military backing of anti-Xi forces. Mr. Shen said the Defense Ministry's notice about the 2 detentions stated that the action was taken after study by the CCP Central Committee, which he interpreted as a party-led operation rather than one initiated through the legal system, the state, or the military. He said this reflects an internal power struggle and could have wide-ranging consequences. Shen added that if commanders aligned with Xi, such as Miao Hua and He Weidong, had remained in place, Xi might have pressed them to prepare for action against Taiwan. But he noted that they have fallen on corruption allegations and that the broader scale of corruption in the military makes it difficult for Beijing to launch such an operation in the short term. He argued that after moving against the military's main anti-Xi forces, Xi would first focus on securing a smooth continuation of his leadership at the 21st Party Congress in 2027. The fallout from Zhang Youxia's downfall has triggered ripple effects in China's political arena in early 2026. It not only signals an escalation of Xi's military purges, but also underscores deep turmoil within the People's Liberation Army. A document titled An Open Letter to the People has spread rapidly online, claiming to come from anti-Xi figures inside the CCP and urging the public to rise up. While its origin has not been independently verified, the document's message focuses squarely on the core of an elite power struggle, touching on military loyalty, factional purges, and broader public discontent. The letter claims that Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli were placed under formal investigation and argues this was not simply an anti-corruption case, but a blatant struggle for power at the top. It also says Zhang and Liu were once seen as key military stabilizers during Xi Jinping's early rise, but are now being treated as leaders of anti-Xi factions and openly detained. The document alleges that their families and subordinates were drawn into the fallout and described actions such as surveillance around a Beijing residence, searches of offices, and the detentions of associates in Shanxi. The document then lists what it describes as abuse of power by Xi Jinping. It accuses him of using anti-corruption campaigns to eliminate rivals, promoting a national rejuvenation narrative to justify personal rule, and invoking common prosperity while harming private wealth. It points to the social and economic toil of the pandemic years and property market collapse, rising youth unemployment, and growing public frustration. It also criticizes China's foreign policy, economic direction, and domestic controls, portraying these developments collectively as a serious human rights crisis. The letter then addresses what it calls brothers in the military, particularly those with close ties to Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli. It warns that today's detentions could be followed by further actions against others and argues that the armed forces are being placed in a moral dilemma. The document urges military personnel to reflect on their role at what it describes as a critical moment, asserting that the military becomes decisive when political repression reaches an extreme. The document uses high-charged language, calling for an uprising and portraying it as a means of self-protection, national salvation, and justice. Beyond its appeal to military personnel, it also urges workers to halt production and demonstrate, and calls on farmers to join what it describes as a mass movement. This document has circulated widely across overseas Chinese language media outlets and social platforms, drawing international attention. Some analysts argue that Xi Jinping now lacks trusted figures within the military, leaving the armed forces without a clear center of authority. They suggest that growing suspicion and fragmentation could heighten the risk of internal conflict and warn that China's political situation may enter a period of extreme volatility till its ending.
Okay. before we go to the next one, which is
All right.
all right. Now I get center stage. So I get my most trusted news. My most trusted news source is Lei over here. I usually watch her when she goes live, and she seems to go live pretty much every day. And I'm considering her. What's the word? I'm considering using her live stream as part of my daily news roundup from places. For China, I'm going to use Lei. But before we do that, I was just going to something just struck me. Back in Trump's first term, there were two sides to an argument. There was the side that said Jerusalem is the undisputed combined capital of Israel, and then there was another side that said East Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine. Remember that? And then President Trump, he came in and he said, I am President Trump, recognize that Jerusalem is the unified capital of Israel, of the Jews, of the people of Israel. Remember that? He took it off the table. So it's not on the table anymore. Jerusalem is now known as the unified Jerusalem. East and West Jerusalem is as one entity known as the capital of Israel because Donald Trump took it off the table. Now, why can't Donald Trump, do the same thing for Taiwan and Russia and China? Donald Trump could say something like that. Well, there is no longer any dispute between China and Taiwan. I recognize Taiwan to be a full sovereign state, and China as well to be a full sovereign state. Two countries, two states. No one has any claim upon the other. There was who the hell was that? Okay, so barring that mess, I still think it's why doesn't Trump take it off the table? Why doesn't Trump say, okay, Taiwan's a country, leave it alone. China, that's it. You're done. It's not a thing anymore. You have no claim upon Taiwan because Taiwan's its own country. Okay, it's off the table. Why can't Donald Trump do that? Anyway, let's go to Lei. This is well, actually, I'll come back. Excuse me. I'll come back to this thing. I'm gonna go see if she's got anything like now live first, because she's pretty good with the live stuff. Well, she pretty much talks about the coup in Beijing, which is how I found out about it in the first place, and how I found those other two channels talking about it. And she doesn't have anything on the go right now. But let's listen to her talk about this.
Well, I recently discussed China's population, and guess what? China's National Bureau of Statistics just released the number of new births in 2025, and it fell to 7.92 million, a record low. So how low is that number? Well, the last time China had this level of new birth was almost 300 years ago, in 1738, during the reign of the Qianlong Emperor in the Qing dynasty. Back then, China's total population was only about 150 million. Yes, 150 million people produced roughly 7.9 million babies. Today, China officially claims a population of 1.4 billion, almost 10 times the population of 1738, yet it produced the same number of newborns. Something's clearly wrong. Either China's total population is not actually 1.4 billion, or the number of people willing to have children is collapsing, or both. Last week, we already discussed why China's real population is far lower than the official 1.4 billion. Today, I want to explore the other reason behind China's birth collapse, why Chinese people no longer want to have children. Now, before we get there, let me walk you through the latest birth data so you can see how brutal the reality really is. So 13 years after the CCP relaxed one-child policy, which was in 2013, and then 10 years after introducing the two-child policy, which was in 2016, and 4 years into the so-called three-child policy, that's in 2021, China's birth rate has continued to tank. Just to give you some reference points, in 2016, that was 3 years after China relaxed the single-child policy, the country recorded 20 million births. And in 2021, the year after COVID, that number was cut in half and collapsed to 10.6 million. And in 2022, birth fell below 10 million for the first time to 9.56 million. And then in 2023, 2024, it continued to fall, to drop to 9 million and 9.54 million, respectively. So in 2024, there was a slight rebound. And now in 2025, new births plunged again, down 17% in just 1 year to 7.9 million. To put this in historical perspective, in 1964, more than 1 out of every 4 babies born on Earth was Chinese. China accounted for 27% of global newborns. That's according to the official number. Now, by 1976, that share had already fallen below 20%. Fast forward to 2020, China's share dropped to under 10%. And now, looking back at 2025, it's under 6%. It was actually 5.8%. Now, think about it. In 2 generations, China went from producing 1 in 4 babies on Earth to fewer than 1 in 17. And yet, China still officially claims nearly 18% of the world's population, while contributing under 6% of new births. And by the way, that's assuming the official demographic data is accurate. The reality can be worse. So this is not a gradual demographic transition, it's a birth collapse. So why are new births collapsing so fast? Well, because Chinese people don't want to have children anymore. Other than the fact that China doesn't have that many people left. So not only it's extremely costly to raise a kid, but more importantly, they don't feel safe. Chinese parents have an existential anxiety about their children becoming walking spare parts for someone else. And to address that, I need to bring you 3 recent death cases to help explain this anxiety. The first case is the death of a 5-month-old infant girl, Luo Xi. And by the way, these cases are all viral events in China. So this one involves the death of a 5-month-old infant girl called Luo Xi in Ningbo, Zhejiang. She underwent a cardiac surgery described by the hospital as technically mature with controllable risk and a high success rate. Yet this baby, who had barely begun to understand the world, died during the operation. Her mother was devastated, as you could see. That's the picture of the mother with her baby. The mother was devastated when she saw the baby, when she saw the body. According to accounts circulating online, the surgeon had not even stitched her up. Later, other pediatricians publicly commented that her condition did not require surgery at all and could have healed naturally as she grew. What truly shocked the public was not only the many unanswered questions surrounding the surgery itself, but also the contradictions in key medical information before and after the incident. The family's extreme difficulty in obtaining complete medical records, imaging data, and surveillance footage, and the repeated revisions and even removal of official statements issued by the hospital. The highly defensive posture adopted by the hospital and the authorities only deepened suspicion and quickly ignited online outrage. Many people began to suspect that the infant had become a victim of organ harvesting, as infant organs and stem cells are highly coveted in regenerative medicine. So this case broke out to become national. It got national attention in late December, or in the second half of December. Then on January came the death of a 13-year-old boy in Xingcai, Henan. I've covered this a week ago. His death triggered a local protest and ended with a large police deployment and a soft lockdown. The boy was reportedly healthy, had a rare blood type, and had just undergone a routine physical exam at school, yet he mysteriously died in his dormitory. His body was rushed away by what witnesses described as a fake ambulance, only to be physically blocked by the boy's uncle, who used his truck to stop it, as you could see in the picture. Now, after hours of confrontation, the parents were finally allowed to see their son's body. They discovered a puncture near his heart. And experts in organ transplantation later explained that such a puncture is medically necessary to inject organ preservation solution, allowing the heart to remain viable for hours before transplantation. These two cases serve as a brutal wake-up call for Chinese parents. Both victims were children. They both died in places people trusted the most, a hospital and a school. And both cases were handled in the same heavy-handed way: information control, public opinion manipulation, large-scale security deployment, and intimidation of grieving families. When viewed within a broader reality, namely the CCP's long-standing and internationally accused but consistently denied system of illegal organ harvesting, the explanations of accident or coincidence become increasingly difficult to accept by the Chinese public. Now, this is not a conspiracy theory. It's a systemic structure built on power, monopoly, information suppression, and the commodification of human life. Then came the third death, which just happened a couple of days ago. And this sent an even deeper chill through the public. And this time it involved a Hong Kong celebrity known for his strong sense of justice and chivalry. His name is Liang Xiaolong. He is a famous Hong Kong kung fu star, widely respected for his martial arts and acting career. As a young man, he learned martial arts to protect his grandmother, and he was known as a real-life, good Samaritan on screen and off. Just 1 month earlier, he had spoken out publicly in support of little Luo Xi, the 5-month-old baby girl who died during surgery. He posted more than 20 videos about her case and urged people to pay attention to that case. And in one post, he wrote that he would not remain a bystander this time. And that post received 500,000 likes. Then on January 14th, he suddenly died of what was officially described as sudden cardiac death. Now, many people question the timing because the day before his death, Liang had openly called for public attention on missing children and forced organ harvesting. And he stated on record that those involved in child trafficking and the crime of harvesting these children's organs should receive the death penalty. Shortly after that post, the video post in which he made that statement, someone commented, "You are in danger." The next day, the actor was dead. Now, Liang was 77 years old. So people say, well, he could maybe, people could die from sudden heart attack. But he was a lifelong martial artist and known to be very physically fit. And he was looking fine the day before. So what raised even more suspicion was that it took his agent 4 days to announce his death. And during those 4 days, his social media accounts continued to be updated as if he were still alive. Now think about that. If a loved one, especially a public figure, suddenly passed away, would you stay silent for 4 days and continue posting as if nothing had happened? Most people wouldn't. It was only after news of his death leaked that his agent finally confirmed it. How do we know that? Because his agent said it. His agent said that they wanted to keep it private. So these unusual circumstances, combined with the fact that Liang was living in mainland China when he died, have fueled widespread suspicion of foul play. Online, a strong consensus has emerged suggesting that the actor was murdered because of his outspokenness opposing organ harvesting, particularly the ones involving children. So this is the theory circulating online, that Liang used his celebrity status to raise public awareness, and he was very effective. But this crossed a red line, and that his death was meant as a warning to other celebrities to stay silent. People was only suspicious until another Hong Kong actor is actually very pro-Beijing. I think you know this guy, Jackie Chan. He wrote a post about, he said he was very shocked to hear that Brother Liang passed away. He said he was very shocked. And then he wrote a post that ended with a cryptic line. It said, "Brother Liang, it's snowing in Beijing. The sky is heavy and overcast, and we miss you." Now, people say he's hinting something because, the Chinese came right through. If you read his entire message, the last line in Chinese is just very obvious. It's hinting something like, "I know something is wrong. I cannot say it, but the atmosphere here in Beijing is very dark." That's what's hinting in Chinese. So actor Liang's death is chilling. Whether or not this theory can ever be proven, the fear it reflects is very real. And it explains why so many Chinese families no longer believe it is safe to bring children into the world.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is that's shocking. Shocking, shocking, shocking. So, yeah, like I said in the beginning, I don't think China is a threat to Taiwan, even if Donald Trump doesn't, take it off the table, because of this inability to replenish the military with new cannon fodder, because it's China. There's going to be billions and billions and billions of them. But China's really screwed up with their one-child policy. This is the one thing that really bothers me about China. They're communist. Why didn't they just let everybody flourish? And, you want the big population. You want the big population because you're going to go to war. That technology is helping the world live better. What is with the fucking Chinese and why are Chinese communists? Seriously, why? Throughout Chinese history, through the thousands, this ancient China, throughout the whole history of China, going back into ancient China, which parts of Chinese history were communist? Before 1945 or 48, or whatever it was. I don't know Chinese history, so I'm really not sure about that. But I will get an answer, and I will bring it to you. However, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. I think it's time to take a break. I was going to, because it's Sunday, I was going to start G-Man, bringing in G-Man for a little bit of a look at what G-Man is saying and where he stands. But it's still early Sunday, so we can still do it. We can do it later on. And I'm just wondering, for me, and the Israeli flag behind me. Is it better this way? Or is it better this way? How's this going to work? Like this, maybe. There we go. There you go. Hello. All right, there you go. So the China news is we're done for now, but I'm pretty sure we'll be back. We'll be back for that daily. I'll try to make it a daily thing. Yeah, there's no questions and there's no comments. And I am ready for breakfast. I've been up since pretty early. All right, folks. It's a time to say thank you for watching. And it's also a time to say, well, let's make it classy. Real classy. We can get some of this going. Here we go.